Welcome to Watercolor Relaxation. Today we are watercoloring the grapes. Grapes hold a lot of symbolism in the Bible. Grapes represent the blood of Jesus. A vineyard represents the mission field. And grapes represent the fruit or a good work we are to do the others asking. In Israel, the travel industry used a symbol of two men carry a clusters of grapes on the pole, which symbolize the good fruits of the promised land that comes from the hard work. In John 15, verse 5, it says, I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abides in me, and I in him, the same bring forth much fruit, for without me ye can do nothing. For the diffuser today, I choose grapefruit. As you watercoloring the grape today, I would like you to think about the symbol behind it, also observing the texture, the colors, and the volume. For the watercolor today, we are using crimson red as cooler red, cami red as warmer red, celerium blue as cooler blue, ultramarine blue as warmer blue. We're going to start it with one grape. I use the blocking to block the shape of the grapes. I then draw an extra 2 grapes to show you the different colors and also the different method with watercolors. I'm using the crimson red on the other brushes. I mix with ultramarine blue. You can see here the purple, here is crimson red with ultramarine blue. I then use the cami red. You can see the cami red is much warmer than the crimson red. Mixed with the ultramarine blue. You can see the purple is a little bit duller. I then try with the crimson red mixed with the celerium blue and cami red with the celerium blue. Here you can tell the difference between each purple. For the first grape, I'm using crimson red with ultramarine blue. I'm mixing very thoroughly. Also, it's not a running. On this one, the first layer is thicker. It's not a running watercolors. I then place on the form shadow where I see that it's darker. I flip the paper and using the gravity to finish my grapes. Clean the brushes, dry it. Use a clean water to pour down the colors that you place it. I then use the yellow ochre with lemon yellow and a little bit green to watercolor the stamp. When the paper is still moisture or wet, you can add the sap green to it. I also added the green into around the stamp. Do notice that this video is 2 times the speed. Now my paper is a little bit dry. I started to using ultramarine blue for the core shadow that appeared to be darker. When you're doing your own watercolors, pay attention to the timing. I use the thirsty brushes to lift up the highlight. On the second grapes, I started using the cami red and mixed with ultramarine blue. It prepared me for a duller purple. And then I using the ultramarine blue with the crimson red. I mix both the colors on top of it. This allows the color is mixing on the paper rather on the plate. Doing this, repeating the same way, flipping the paper, using the gravity and the clean water to help you finish the grapes. For the first layer, on my third grapes, I used the crimson red with celerium blue. Then I touched the camomile red with the crimson red and finish the grapes. Using the cerulean blue and ultramarine blue to finish up the darker value, you want to do this while your paper is damp. Then use the thirsty brushes and lift up the highlight. I want to show you how to do a two grapes that is overlap. I use a block in to block out both of shape. Make sure you measure the angle of the grapes instead of just draw a curved line. On the first layer, I used the ultramarine blue with a crimson red, with a touch of celerium blue and cami red. Using the same method, watercolor the shadow shape, which is the form shadow and the core shadow first. Then flip the paper over and finishing up with the light area with water. With the gravity, it will help to pull down the color that you put it on previously. I then use the green for the stamp. I do not want to have a bright green for the stamp, so I mix a little bit of the purple to dull my green. I need to wait for the paper to dry a little bit more for me to put the second layer. While I'm waiting, I'm going back to check on my 3 grapes to see if any grapes that need to have a darker shape or need to have a third layer. On this grape here, I do want to show you the different method. First, I place a very light and running purple. Any purple will do. And then I using the ultramarine blue with the crimson red to touch a little bit for the form shadow and the cast shadow. You can see because the water is running, so the color mixes very well and there is no hard edges. Using the dry brushes to guide where the water, you can dry them a little bit more if the color is blending too much. You can lift up some of the colors and then put it back in. Let me show you another grapes that is done in the same way. I use a crimson red with ultramarine blue for my shadow shape. As you can see here, because the paper is wet, so the color is running and it makes it a very nice wet on wet. I then use the ultramarine blue to darken some of the area that need to be darker, like the core shadow. I use the thirsty brushes, or you can dry your brushes and guide where you want the watercolor to go. You can also add a little bit of green or yellow ochre into your grapes while the paper is still damp. That doesn't create a hard edges. Using the thirsty brushes to lift up the highlight and the light area. Now the two grapes that overlap each other is completely dry. I then mix the darker value for the cat shadow and also the pitch shadows. Soften the edges with the clean and dry brushes. I know it seems simple and easy when you're watching me doing the watercolors. Do remember this is a 2x speed. Please be patient with yourself and be an observer and watching how water can paint it for you. Thank you for watching.